Hello, I'm here with Aleš Ude from the Josef Stefan Institute, and he's the head of the robotics department there, and we're going to talk with him about the Reconcile project. So, Aleš, thank you for being here. Could you please describe the project in 3 sentences?
So the main goal of the ReconCell project is to develop a flexible workcell that is not useful just for large batch-size production as it is currently done in many industries, but also for few-of-a-kind production that can be used also by SMEs. So for this purpose we are developing many new reconfigurable hardware technologies and software technologies which actually allow this to happen.
What is that actually, a flexible work cell?
So the flexible workcell should firstly support easy programming. So we use kinesthetic teaching or programming by demonstration to achieve this. And secondly, often it turns out that it's not enough just to have, a good software that allows you to program your robots, but actually you also need to prepare the workplace for the robots so that they can operate effectively. So Reconcile actually tries to use reconfigurable hardware which allow the robot to prepare the workplace by itself. So he can, for example, move fixtures and some other elements of the workcell. So something still needs to be done manually, but eventually at the end you end up with a workcell that is well prepared for the desired task. In our case, these are assembly operations.
And that's very interesting. So, especially because you mentioned SMEs, so can you tell us a bit more about the use cases of Reconcile and how companies can benefit from your solution?
So we actually initially in the project we selected the use cases that are beneficial to develop the workcell. So basically, so this is a bit of a selfish motivation because first we need to have a powerful workcell that is useful for the companies, and then so now this workcell exists. We had 3 different use cases that were one from the automotive industry, and then the second one is about the assembling robots, and the third one is from the furniture industry. And so each of these use cases actually showed how we can assemble something new which was currently done manually. So if these 3 companies didn't have a Reconcile system, then they would not be able to basically assemble this with robots. Of course, this is still at the project phase, so it is not that we have already transferred this to the companies, but we performed tests that show that actually there is a business case behind this.
But you mentioned pilot projects, so this means the system could also be applied to many other industries in general.
Right, so that's why we also have now an open call where we try to acquire new projects or new assembly projects where we will show that we can actually use the workcell for something what we actually haven't planned for from the beginning.
Interesting. So yeah, regarding the open call, so you will fund further experiments, so smaller research projects that are receiving financial support from you as the Reconcile project. What do you expect from these experiments?
So I hope that with these experiments we can confirm that the cell is really useful for a variety of different assembly projects. So our final goal is actually to commercialize the product developed in the project. So and for that, of course, we need to have different reference cases, and if there is a variety of such cases, this is of course much better for a future company to have examples to show that the product is really viable.
So that sounds very fascinating. So and we're almost at the end of the interview. So my final question would be, so regarding the timeline, could you please tell us in a few words what are the next steps in your project?
So we are now, so our open call finishes in it will be closed next week. Then we need to select the best proposals. So afterwards we are going to focus a little bit on solving these projects. And secondly, we need to provide the documentation for the cell. So the future company, of course, cannot just have a product, but it should also be well documented, which is actually quite serious work. So after these two phases are finished, then we can really focus on the commercial part. Although this is already, one of our partners is already working on looking at potential strategic investor and looking at some seed funding for the company.
So, good luck with that, and that was really interesting. Thank you, Aleš. Aleš Ude from the Josef Stefan Institute. He's head of the robotics department there, and we were talking about the ReconCell project.